Hello, friends. This is Sharon from Natural Awakenings magazine, and today I'm joined once again by my good friend Siobhan Hutchinson of Next Step Strategies. After our interview last week, Siobhan and I got to talking about the state of what's going on right now and the fact that alcohol sales are way up, depression's way up, suicide rates are going up. And so, what is it that Siobhan and her practice can do to help people now and even weeks from now when they feel like, oh, damn, I've dug myself a hole. Now I need to get out of it. So Siobhan, please tell us how can you help us?
Okay, so first off, I want to say the word self-empowerment. I'm not a guru. You are your best guru for yourself. What I try to do is self-empower people with the tools that have worked for me. And so I'd like to invite you into my world and see if some of these techniques appeal to you and to give you some background about why I feel so passionately about Tai Chi, Qigong, and energy medicine. I do believe that they will help. I'm not a medical doctor, a psychotherapist, or a clinician, but I can give you tools to help self-empower you. Because one thing that I've learned from the COVID-19 experience is that we all need to step up and take control of our health and well-being, because nobody else is going to, and you cannot count on other people doing the work for you. If you do not get enough rest, if you do not get enough exercise, if you don't eat properly, none of what I tell you is going to work for you. And I doubt very much that any medication you are on will work effectively, because you are not nurturing yourself and taking care of yourself. Self-care is not being selfish. It's self-empowering you to be the best that you can be, and also to help those in your family and friends.
So that all sounds great, but
I will get back on topic. So
no. I'm going to challenge you just a little bit. So while, yeah, that all sounds great, a lot of people right now are suffering still from being paralyzed by fear. And when we're paralyzed by fear, we don't tend to do what's good for us. We do what comforts us. So I feel like that's one of the big obstacles that has to be tackled. And I also want to say, like, okay, you're not a medical doctor, a psychologist, blah, blah, all those things, but the practices that you're offering are a very valid part of medical practices, and they're becoming more and more popular in Eastern medicine. Did I say that right? Did I get Western and Eastern mixed up? In Western medicine, Eastern medicine is becoming more and more popular. So go ahead and take over.
Okay. So what concerns me is that prior to 2006, the suicide rate was growing at 1% per year. After 2006, it was growing 2% per year. And currently, I do not have the exact statistics, but with everything that's going on with COVID-19, I wouldn't be surprised if that rate hasn't risen more.
No, that's definitely what we're hearing, is that the rate is up. They're looking for volunteers to help with the suicide hotlines. So yeah, no, you're right on.
And men are 4 times more likely than women to take their own lives. And being in a rural area also is a contributing factor. So what's happening now in the integrated practices, where they're combining Western and Eastern medicine practices, such as detox centers of such, they're utilizing mindfulness practices, which Tai Chi is a part of. So just in a casual kind of Googling, looking around for research studies on the effects of Tai Chi with addiction, I found that the few studies that were out there discovered that Tai Chi was more effective for people who were trying to conquer their addictions more so than just regular exercise because of the mindfulness part of it.
That
Okay.
makes a lot of sense.
So, along with that, they also found that it Tai Chi practices and mindfulness practices helped people's self-esteem and their confidence as well. So it's very supportive of the whole mind, body, spirit that we're looking for in holistic health. I want to step back for just a minute because you're probably saying, still, why do you think this is going to work? And I'm going to share with you, we all have that dark night of the soul. We all have a challenge put in front of us that just seems like we can't dig ourselves out. So a little bit about me. I had my whole world disintegrate in front of me. And for a few years, I had nothing to cling to. It just seemed whatever I was trying to do to change my circumstance, I was always met, not with an embrace and a warm hug, but with negativity. I just lost what I thought was my world at the time. And I had no easy answers, and I was very lost. But what kept occurring to me during that dark time was that if I didn't have my practices to help myself, I would have been a statistic. I would not be here talking to you now. So when you say, yes, when you're in fear, when you're in the worst part of your life and you're struggling and you're swimming around looking for an anchor, it's hard to motivate yourself to do the right things for you. But right now we're hearing a lot of self-care and to be compassionate with ourselves and to eat the comfort foods if we need to. So whatever it is to get you through that dark night of the soul, do it. But I also had additional tools to help me move through the fear and the anxiety. I really do feel that had I not had these practices to support me, I would have just still been floundering in the water, doggy paddling along, trying to figure out what to do. Now, the Burlington County Times, about a year ago, wanted to do an article on alternative techniques to help with addiction. And they interviewed me and they asked, could you please provide us with some students who were recovering with addictions? And I just stopped for a minute and I looked at them and I said, why would the student share something so personal like that with me? They're not going to be interviewed by you and admit to this. There's a stigma attached to it, just like in our parents' generation, there was a stigma to seeking out psychologists, psychiatrists for mental health. There was a stigma. People didn't do it. People are afraid to come out and say, I have a problem. But what they are going to say to me is, I have trouble sleeping. I have pain. They're going to give me the symptoms and we're going to work with that. And I do know from the Tai Chi practices that I teach that they help with habit energies. So that if you have a habit and you want to break it, mindfulness techniques are a great way to do that. And I do believe that this is complementary. This is integrating with Western medicine. It's supporting. And I'm very big on self-empowerment. So I'm sharing what works for me, and you take what piece of that tool works for you. I never say to a client, this is the end all, this is the only path. I always lay out options. You can try this, you can try that. What works for you? How does that make you feel? But at least give it some time. Don't just say, well, I tried it for 10 minutes and it just didn't work for me. Nothing's going to work for 10 minutes. You got to keep at it. It's a skill. It's a learned skill.
Right. Well, I love what you're saying, because we all do have the dark night of the soul, and something that you said, I just wrote down, moving through the fear and anxiety. And I think that's where so many people are. And we have to make that decision to, okay, I've had it. I don't want any more of it. It's time to move through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, and notice I'm doing the flowy motions. That's where the exercises that you're offering and the mindfulness is so important, because we can go through life like zombies, and many of us do. You know, you're driving to work, you get there, you don't even remember the drive. But when you're mindful and you're holding yourself accountable,
Mm-hmm.
that's the skill that what you're offering can teach, because a lot of people don't know how to do that right now.
Well, what I'm finding is, even for myself, I would be a liar if I said that this situation we're currently in hasn't affected me. It's affected me quite a bit. But what I found, and this is, again, taking from past, I'll say, upsets, traumas, challenges in life, I know that when I'm in fear, the emotions, I'm almost like an observer. The emotions keep going up and down. And the good thing is you want to let them keep flowing through you, not to deny them. Call them the name that they are. I'm in fear. I have stress. I have an anxiety. But notice that the emotions never stay stuck in you. They just keep moving. Your body's filled with all these hormones. Yes.
So just to that point, because yeah, and saying I'm in stress, I'm in fear, that does not mean that you call all your friends and you're constantly, oh, I'm so stressed out, I'm so stressed out. That is acknowledging that you're there, is then making the decision to move through it, not to spread it around.
That is a good point. I used to be a spreader. I'll admit to that. In my younger days, I used to be a spreader, but I didn't know what to do. I was searching, and I was asking people, well, what do I do? You know, help me, help me. And I guess that's one of the reasons I came to these techniques, and I'm so passionate about sharing them, because I remember the younger self just floundering.
Right.
What do I do? How do I make myself feel better? And now it's more like I'm the observer, and I go, okay, I'm feeling fear this moment, but I know myself enough now that that is a transient, transitional stage. When I start thinking about the future, that's when the ugly head of fear and anxiety creeps up. Right now is a great test, because we're not in control. Nobody is right now. It's out of our hands. I can't say tomorrow all my recreation and senior centers are going to open and it'll be just like it was before. There's no guarantees for me. And so I'm going with the flow. I'm trusting. I've depended on myself before. I don't know what the future is. It's not like when I was younger and I said, okay, I'm going to college, I'm going to grad school, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And I'm able to let go. And the Tai Chi practices are so much about letting go. And that's exactly what you said, Sharon, about going with the flow. Because these movements, we're just circulating and balancing the chi, your intrinsic energy. And this brings us so mindful. We come into our body, we're mindful of the present moment, and that helps calm down the sympathetic nervous system. So we talk about triple warmer, we talk about spleen meridians and spleen radiant circuits. We're all saying the same thing. There's a sympathetic nervous system that's reacting to stress. And there's the parasympathetic nervous system that's like the chicken soup for the soul. It's the chicken soup to calm you down. So when you're mindful, when you're staying in the moment, when you're doing these mindful movements, it brings you to the present moment. And that's all there is to work with. And so this is a great opportunity for all of us to be in the moment. But I would like to say one more thing. I do not want to come across as negating those people that are now living day to day or had been living day to day from paycheck to paycheck. Being a single mom with children, young children, I cannot imagine what they are going through. And I ache for them. And I'm not saying that don't you worry about a thing and just sit there and do a meditation or do some Tai Chi. And that's going to just make everything all right. I don't want to sound as if I'm making that insignificant. It is survival. It's a survival mode. But in order to get yourself out of the situation, you have to think clearly, and being in an emotional state and not handling the emotions is not going to help the situation. It's going to make it worse. And sometimes when we're in the quiet, even if you could just take a minute or two to regain composure, things will bubble up, ideas, solutions that you never ever thought of. And if it's not the solutions, it'll be the stamina and the grounding to help you get through the most difficult thing in your life.
Well, I think that was very profound. And yeah, we don't want to downplay anybody's challenges because there are real challenges out there right now. But to your point about taking that moment, if you're living in the frenzy 24/7, you're going to be vibrating very low and very unhappy, and you're never going to get a moment to pause and breathe. And then when you pause and breathe, that's when you can collect your thoughts again and see opportunities that maybe you couldn't see before because you were living down here. And that's where Siobhan's classes that she's offering 3 days a week offer the opportunity to do that. And if you feel like you're overwhelmed and you have nowhere to turn, we've got a community right here. And Siobhan, let us know again, how do we join your classes?
Well, first of all, I want to tell everyone right now, they are free 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Skype. 3 times a week, that's 3 hours. And I'll be going over more energy medicine techniques, but I will be putting a little bit of Qigong and Tai Chi in with that material to help. I want to get you quickly in tune with being in the present moment. And this is the quickest way, and I feel people will be more receptive, and then we can go deeper into Tai Chi later on in the classes. But right now, it's critical that I get you up to speed. And so they're free classes, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're on Skype, and all you need to do is connect with me. You can go to my website at Next Step Strategies, plural, LLC.com, but Sharon will put it in the video. And I will send you a invitation to Skype. It's a free program. And you can also connect with me through my email and telephone number, which Sharon will provide you as well.
I will, yes.
Thank you.
No, thank you. No, really. I've had so many conversations with people who are still at the, oh my God, what's happening? This isn't over. I can't order a pizza. And so I feel like it's more important than ever to let people know that these options are available, because really, like, it's awesome that you're making this offer, and it will be even more awesome to build the community. So if this sounds like something that you would like to try it, just do it. I love it. Siobhan's a great teacher.
Thank you. And I just want to self-empower people. I want to provide you with the tools. And again, it may not solve all your problems, but when you're in the moment and grounded, opportunities and things will happen that you just cannot imagine when you're in the frenzy. And I do believe that this will also help with addictions. And I would welcome you. I don't need to know that you have this as a problem. Just tell me the symptom and we'll go from there.
No, that's wonderful. And, I agree. I think it's going to help with that. I think it's going to help with anxiety. I think it's going to help with, people are probably going to the comfort food and would rather be on a healthy diet. So I think it's going to just help make better choices, because you take a moment to really think about what you're doing. And Siobhan, I'm so grateful to you.
Oh, thank you.
I do have, I'm going to include the links below, but also if you go to our website, najerseyshore.com, the schedule of classes is there, and you can link directly to Siobhan's website to sign up for the class. And otherwise, give us a thumbs up, give us a share, subscribe to Siobhan's channel, and be well, be safe, be happy, and take Siobhan's class.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Siobhan. Namaste.
Namaste.